Hey guys, this is the Minds of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today as I take a deeper look into the most recent episode of Love After Lockup, Season 7, Episode 7. I will not be doing a full episode recap as there are plenty of other content creators who do a great job covering the show. Instead, I'm going to focus on specific segments of the episode that I believe could be used as teachable moments for myself and the audience. So last week I recorded some commentary about Episode 6, and unfortunately, during the rendering process, the audio got damaged. And to be honest, I got sick and tired of re-recording the same thing over and over again. So I said, forget about it. And now I'm using a new software because I've been having these issues for the past several months now with the same software. So I'm using something else. Hopefully this is a better alternative. So anyway, in this episode, I wanted to talk about the dangers of being a Pickme, a woman who is male identified, a woman whose identity is wrapped around whose penis she is engaged with at the time, okay? So in the beginning of the episode, Monique and Derek are talking about what happened, I guess, when they were being chased down by somebody. And Derek basically knows who this person is. Apparently, he was dating a CEO while he was in jail. His brother introduced him to somebody, and she was basically stalking him and obsessed with him while he was, in jail. And basically what happened is that when he got out of jail and he was with Monique, he didn't even let her know what was going on. He pretty much ghosted her. Now, Monique is very protective of Derek. She's very insecure about him. She knows what time it is. Derek knows this too. And on the one hand, Derek is like, yeah, it's over with. We're done. I don't want to be with you no more. And I think that he says this to get the girl to chase him, right? To prove how much she wants to be with him. So he's like, yeah, we're just friends. We're just kicking it. I got somebody else now. In a sense, it's pretty much over with. Did he say, yeah, somebody else? I don't know. But he was like, it's over with. We have fun. It's a wrap, right? He said we were friends. And the girl said, I'm from the hood and you from the hood. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, right? So essentially, she is a stalker. And she's somebody who doesn't know how to accept no for an answer because, again, her entire identity is wrapped around this man. This man from jail with nothing to offer. He is relatively attractive, I guess, but he's not a prize, okay, to me. But to women who are male identified, who have no self-esteem, he would be considered a prize. So on the one hand, Derek is like, yeah, I don't want to be with you no more. It's whatever the case may be. But then on the other hand, he's like, I want to see how bad she wants me. I want to see how much she still wants to be with me. So he's going to be using this girl for sex and money while he's dating Monique. And Monique is subconsciously aware of the possibility of this happening, which is why she is so possessive of Derek, which is why she is so dominating over him. She doesn't want to let him go anywhere on his own. She has a track on his phone. She basically bought him tools and resources, or she bought him devices that she can use to keep an eye on him while he's not in her presence, because she knows that he's not really messing with her like that, okay? He's not really serious about her. It is what it is. So Derek is like, I'm going to get an engagement ring to, quiet the noise. No, he's going to get an engagement ring to shut Monique up and to string her along, to make her feel like that she's exclusive and special to him, when in actuality, she's just good for him right now. So he's going to use Monique until the wheels fall off, okay? Monique is not an unattractive woman. She is, I guess she's devoted to him. And she's willing to do whatever to make him happy. I guess that makes her some sort of asset to him. But she's not an unattractive girl. She just has low self-esteem. And her low self-esteem is the reason why I think Derek is attracted to her, because that means that she's willing to do everything and anything to hold on to him. Because she's a pick-me, just like this CO girl. It seems like this CO, this correction officer female, she sounded like Big Shirley from Martin. She sounded like she had some sort of filter on her voice to make her sound off or something, or she sounded like a man. To be honest, she sounded like a masculine pick-me woman who was willing to do anything to stay with Derek. Even if he said to her, I don't want to be with you no more, I feel like that's a part of the game they play. Like a lot of men, they want women to chase them. And I've had a guy try to do that to me before, and it didn't work. Like, if you tell me you don't want to be with me for the sake of trying to see how much I'm going to chase you, you're going to be disappointed, because I don't let a man tell me he doesn't want to be with me more than one time. That's never been me since I was 19 years old and dating. Okay, I would never allow a man to tell me that he doesn't want to be with me, and I'm just sitting there talking about why not? What's going on? What do you mean? What can I do? I don't know how to do that. I'm not doing that either. So if you say no and it's over with, then okay, I accept that. I can't force you to be with me. I can't force you to accept me for who I am. Okay. And I'm not willing to do whatever you want me to do to be good enough for you. That's just me. So anyway, these women like Monique and the CEO, these women seem to be like, they seem to put men like Derek on a pedestal, or any man on a pedestal. As long as he has a penis and he gives them attention, he's the most important thing in the world. And I feel the same way about Aris and Cameron. So Aris and Cameron, they're getting ready for their wedding, and I'm like, this is awful. I don't like the fact that Aris is introducing this man from jail to her daughter, who's 9 years old, and they're getting married within a couple days. She barely knows this guy. Like, it's just awful to me. I will say this. I was happy to hear that Aris's daughter's father, he got deported when she was 2 years old. And the reason why I was happy about that was because, number one, he wasn't taking care of his children anyway. And number two, he was making a bunch of single baby mothers in the United States. And so he was not an asset to the community. So I was happy that he was deported, period. Because he was just over here destroying the community and the culture with his wayward penis and his disregard for women and children. And I'm happy he got deported. I'm sad for Cameron's daughter, but at the same time, he wasn't in her life anyway. So he didn't want to be in her life anyway. And he probably wanted, Aris. He wanted Aris to get an abortion anyway. So why should I be sad that he got deported? I'm happy he got deported. I'm happy that he can no longer make babies in the United States that are not cared for, especially in our community. Okay, we don't need any more single babies, mothers in our community. Now, I will say this. I'm not against single baby motherhood in a sense that, I think that Black women should stop having children because there's no man around. That's a complicated subject for me. It's not as simple as, well, you should wait to have married to have kids, because that's not always the right thing to do. And I'm going to explain why in a future date. It's nothing to do with like religion or anything like that, but it's more of a socioeconomic and cultural issue. And it's about demographics and politics in this country. If you don't have any babies, then you don't have as much power in the community. So if the men are irresponsible and wayward and deviant, it's up to the women to take the mantle and raise these children by themselves, regardless of when these men are ready or not, because the system is designed to ensure that Black men are rarely ever prepared to take care of their children, period. Okay? Either psychologically, economically, socially, emotionally. There's something wrong with these men in this society because of the way they've been conditioned by this system and society and education and so on, so that they're not prepared to take care of their kids. So the mothers of the community, the Black women, have to take on the mantle and be the responsible mothers that, take on the role of the father and the mother for the sake of maintaining the population. It sounds controversial, but I will discuss that later on in the future. But anyway, I'm happy that this man is not in the States anymore, and he can no longer make, babies that he doesn't want to take care of. Okay, fine. But the wedding was tacky. Something about Aris annoys me. I feel like, number one, did she gain a bunch of weight in a couple days? I thought she was much slimmer than that. And number two, she seemed, like dejected, like she's not really here or aware of what's going on. So a lot of people say that girls need their fathers in their lives. And if girls had their fathers in their lives, then they'll make better decisions about men. Not if you're a pick-me woman. Pick-me women put men on a pedestal no matter what is going on, no matter who they have in their life. It doesn't make a difference. They need a man to feel validated. There's no reason why Aris should be with this guy. Okay? Now, I will say this. I do like the way that Cameron switched up his energy when he met Aris's daughter. I like the fact that he tried or attempted to be more respectful, he seemed more respectful. I feel like he wasn't as vulgar or ridiculous around Aris's daughter as he usually is. And I appreciated that about him. The fact that he would switch up his flow a little bit to make sure that his daughter felt comfortable. But if I was his daughter, if I was Aries' daughter, I would not, feel comfortable around him because he looks so weird. And then the tattoos, I would be scared of him. But he seemed to try to make the child feel comfortable. And what else was he supposed to do? this is an uncomfortable situation for all of them. Aris barely knows this guy, and Cameron is doing his best to be a stepfather to kids to a child that's not even his. I'm not sure if he has children of his own. It doesn't seem like it. But yeah, Aris seems to be irresponsible to me. Irresponsible and a pick-me, and she's not in her right mind. But I do appreciate the fact that Cameron is making the best out of the situation. They're all trying to do that to the best of their ability. But I wish that Aris did not put her child in this situation in the first place. But it is what it is. The next couple is Mike and Justine. So Justine thinks that she's pregnant, which again is irresponsible, and she is exhibiting pick-me behavior too. How do you already have 3 kids, or 3 kids already, right? She has 3 kids. I think Mike has 4 kids. He just got out of jail. He'll be on probation for 20 years or parole for 20 years, right? I don't know the difference between the two. And this man does not have a job, okay? He is having a hard time dealing with her children, who are very rambunctious, who don't seem to have much discipline. It seems like he's their babysitter in a sense, even though they're old enough to kind of be self-sufficient and independent to an extent. But yeah, that's irresponsible for her and him to get pregnant at this time. He doesn't have enough money to take care of the family. He wants her to stay at home to be with the kids. And I'm like, okay, with what income? Both Michael and Justine are irresponsible. How are you smirking and smiling about the potential of being pregnant, and your husband is an ex-con who may not be able to get a job? I don't know when he'll be able to get a job, but he doesn't want to deal with the kids. He wants you to stay home with the kids, and now you may be pregnant with the 8th child. What is going on here? Like this, she's a bird and she's a pick-me too, okay? And I don't like the fact that, Justine wants Michael to discipline her kids. That they're not going to respect him and listen to him for that. He's doing the best he can. It is very frustrating working from home and you have a bunch of children yelling in the background. That's aggravating, and it's not fair for her to put that on him to that extent. However, if he's married to her now, he's going to have to play the role of the stepfather. But it's not reasonable to expect him to do that with someone else's children, and she has no discipline for them. This is why Mike's mother was like, I'm not going to let you raise my grandchildren the way you raised your kids. That's not going to happen, because Justine seems to have a lackadaisical approach or undisciplined approach to raising her kids. It's like, let them do whatever they want to do as long as nobody gets hurt. And that's not helpful, okay? They need more discipline and more structure. So I think it's irresponsible for Justine and Mike to have a baby so soon after he gets out of jail. Speaking of irresponsibility, Ashley and Travis. Ashley is the most unusual person I've ever seen in my entire life on TV. She wants to live this fairy tale Pollyanna life that she constructed for herself, spending more money than she has, living above her means, lying about how much money she has, falling in love with an ex-con and basically spending thousands of dollars to take care of an ex-con in jail, and then expecting them to come out of jail and a couple weeks later take care of the bills, like take care of her debt. So she was like, okay, so this is what happened. Well, Ashley's landlord is upset that she moved Travis into her place. They may have had some sort of agreement, I don't know. But Ashley's landlord did not want an ex-con on her property. Number one, I thought that was her house. So this lady is spending all this money to woo an ex-con, I guess, and she doesn't have her own place, and she's behind on the bills on top of that. So she's behind on her rent, she's mad money in debt, and she's so focused on this guy because she's a pick-me. She's so focused on Travis, she's willing to ignore the glaring red flags that are flaring in her own personal life. Her finances are a mess, okay? Her finances are a mess, but she's so concerned about this fantasy life with this guy who's supposed to rescue her from her mediocrity and her stupidity and her emotional neediness and codependency. So it's like Travis was a distraction for her own personal issues. So this lady Ashley wooed this man, okay? As soon as he got out of jail, she's crying, oh my God, you're my redemption. You're here to save me. You're here to give me this fantasy. There's some mental illness here too. There has to be, because she may be on drugs or she may be an alcoholic. It seems like her moods are out of whack. She cries at the drop of a hat. She avoids taking responsibility for her own actions. She incurs all this debt and says, I've been waiting on you hand and foot. Now get us out of the situation. So basically, it's almost like she tried to use her money to buy love. And then once she got the guy hooked on her, is now like, you're now my slave and my servant. You got to fix this up for us. You got to fix up the mess that I made to woo you. So I created a mess out of my life. I messed up my finances to woo you to be with me, to seduce you to be with me, because you probably wouldn't do it otherwise, because I'm not all that. So I bought your love, and now you're my slave. Now you're supposed to do everything in your power to fix what I broke, be with you. So I ruined my life and my finances for you, and now it's your fault for me doing that. I don't think he asked her to do those things. I think she did it because she felt like that's what she needed to do to get him to fall in love with her or to be attracted to her. And so when he came out of jail, the first thing she did was talk about this fantasy life of him being the man of her dreams and all this other crap, going on boat rides, and like the language she was using to me implied that she was thinking like this would be a fairy tale fantasy life that was not the reality. She constructed this whole thing to get control over him. So I'm going to bait him with sex and attention and the promise of an easy, comfortable life, only to find out like 2 weeks later you lied about everything, your finances, your rental situation, your job. Like, she is garbage for doing that. She's garbage. And then for her to say, oh, figure this out, I waited for you on you hand and foot. I wonder if she's a Cancer. But she was like, figure this out, I waited on you hand and foot for all these years, for 4.5 years. The least you can do is get us out of the situation. That's not even reasonable. How is he supposed to do that with no job? He's an ex-con. He was still on parole, I believe, right? So they have to go back to Virginia because they lost their home in 2 weeks. She lost the home that she was renting, that she basically asked him to move to give her this like fantasy husband and wife situation, right? She was shacking up for 2 weeks. She gets evicted in 2 weeks, and then she has to sell all her stuff and go to a hotel in Virginia. And she's like, I need you to fix this. And now it's like, now she's treating him as if he owes her. He kind of sort of does, but no, the way she did it was wrong. She went about it the wrong way. She baited him into this. She lied about her finances and her life, right? To get him to, be with her. And now it's backfired, and she wants him to pay for her mistakes. That's not going to work. So the next couple is Skyler and Nathan. Nathan said something that stuck out to me. He said he doesn't want to be with a bum, bitch. He wants to be with someone who is of Skyler's caliber, which is interesting because there are women who are bums, so to speak, or from the hood, who don't have a criminal record. But because of where they come from, they're lowly in his eyes. And this is how a lot of men think. A lot of men treat women, or they value women based on where they come from. This is why so many black men treat black women as if we're a stepping stool to get to the upper echelons of society, which is like white women and non-black women. So because black women represent low status in this country, no matter how many accomplishments we have, no matter how attractive we are, no matter how successful we are, no matter how good we are as women, we're still considered bums in a sense because you are a black girl, a black woman in America, and you're not a status symbol for these black men. This is why I always say that black men are not race loyal. They're not race loyal. They're more loyal to their social status. Men are representative of the 10th house, how other people perceive me, social status, public reputation, the house of Capricorn, business. It's about legacy too. It's not about the home and the family and who raised you. No, it's not about that. It's about how other people perceive you based on who you're dating. So Nathan was like, yeah, I love her so much. I love Skyler. I want to be with her and all this other stuff. And he's fighting hard to be with her because he values her. He doesn't value her because of how she's treated him. He values her because she's a status symbol for him. So no matter how she treats him, he's going to try to work it out. This is what many women don't understand. You bending over backwards for a man who don't give a F about you won't make a difference because he doesn't want to be with you. You're not his preference, okay? So Skyler is Nathan's preference. Skyler would date a woman from the hood that's like whatever. She may be a good girl or whatever. She may be attractive, but she's from the hood. She represents low status for him. unless she's like a doctor or somebody really successful, pull herself up by her bootstraps, then he can benefit from her. But for the most part, a woman like Skyler is to him like the cream of the crop because of her social standing. So he's going to fight hard to be with her regardless of how she feels about him. And so because of this, it's like that's a part of his anxiety too. Am I good enough to be with this woman? I'm from the other side of the tracks. So this girl here, she's everything I've ever wanted to be. She represents, success. She represents accomplishment. I want to hold on to her and I value her because society values her. Okay? And because society values her, I'm going to put more effort and work into this relationship versus being with somebody who is probably a good person, but society says that they're not worth anything because they're black or because they're poor or because of whatever. That's the name of the game. I'm telling ladies, listen, stop bending over backwards for men who don't F with you like that, because guess what? When they want to be with you, they will allow you to cheat on them, disrespect them, take their money, curse them out. You don't have to be perfect to be with a man who wants to be with you. I'm not saying be an asshole like Gabby, but I'm saying that a lot of women think that a lot of black women are told that they have to be perfect. They gotta have the perfect body, the perfect hair, the perfect personality, education. They have to be 100% perfect because guess what? That is the only way that men will see them as valuable in society, black men in particular. You got to be a perfect black woman to be considered a human being in this society, okay? That's in America, that's in Latin America, that's in parts of Europe. That's just the way it is, especially when it comes to black men. These standards may be a little bit lax for other races because a white man, his social status is not going to be reduced by being with a black woman. He is a kingmaker. So he can upgrade anybody just by way of him being white. That's just the way that it is in society. So yeah, Nathan will allow Skyler to mistreat him and gaslight him because he values her and wants to be with her based on where she's from. I said this before. And Skyler will always look down on him in a sense or treat him like he has to earn her love because she knows she can do better. She knows she can do better because her mother comes from a community where the men have resources. And she's a part of that community. Her mother probably knows somebody who has a child, her age, Skylar's age, who's willing to clean her up, form her image, and turn her into a Stepford housewife. White women have the luxury of falling forward, not falling backwards. A white woman can have a sex tape and still become a billionaire because of her social status and the way that black men and other men put them on a pedestal. So this is what it is. Yeah. So anyway, Skyler and Nathan are not going to work because she cares too little and he cares too much. And I said this last week in my commentary that he basically he feels like he's not good enough for her, and she feels like she can do better. That's a recipe for disaster. He's always going to be triggered by her because she knows her worth, and she knows that she's attractive, she's blonde, she comes from some sort of money. And, she's educated. She comes from a good family, in a sense, a successful family. I don't know what happened to her father, but she comes from money. And so, yeah, a lot of men, black men, white men, Asian men, it doesn't matter. She is the cream of the crop in society. A blonde white girl in her 20s who is attractive. If she were to lose weight, she'd be even more attractive. But I think she gained weight because she's trying to kick her drug habit. But anyway, all right, Gabby and Chris. Apparently, Gabby invited Chris to her mother's house. The mother was very disrespectful, but I think that she's sick of Gabby's behavior. I think Gabby has put her mother through the ringer for years, and her mother is tired of it. She's tired. I think Gabby has a personality disorder. She reminds me of somebody who has BPD. She is self-destructive. She's impulsive. She participates in dangerous activities, driving 90 miles per hour in the 45 mile per hour lane. She's promiscuous. She has the textbook markers for a person with borderline personality disorder. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm none of that. But I see BPD when I look at her. And the fact that she is in so much trouble and is in so much drama at a young age, to me indicates that she has some sort of mood disorder. She gets irritated very fast. She doesn't mind arguing. She has no sense of self-awareness, no impulse control. She invites danger. She doesn't know how to walk away from dangerous situations. She's antagonizing. She's abusive. Like, very, moody, bipolar, borderline personality issues here. She may need medication instead of like a reality show, a new penis, and therapy. So yeah, she needs to get some help for that. At the end of the episode, they, basically say that Chris, at this point, beat her up. We knew that was going to happen already. I'm not surprised about it. She's been antagonizing him and using him for his money from the very beginning. She played him. He finds out. He wants to go. He attacks her, not saying that what he did was correct. But again, if you're messing with somebody with nothing to lose and you continue to antagonize them, you're going to get what you get. What's supposed to happen? If you keep getting into scuffles with your boyfriends and you keep getting arrested for impulsive behavior, being erratic, being irrational, being angry, or being too violent, then you're the common denominator. I'm not saying Chris is perfect. He has issues, but he seemed like he was trying to pretend to be a good guy. I think that Gabby, she just poking the bear too much. She's poking. And I think Chris's mother, she didn't respect him at all. She doesn't respect him. I wonder if she would have respected him more if Chris would have gave her some money. I don't know. But she didn't even invite him for anything to eat or drink. She just was like, what are you doing here? Get out. She's sick of her daughter. Her daughter probably has done this more than once. Like, she's sick of her. But at the same time, I think that Gabby's mother is responsible for her behaving that way, for her personality disorder. The way that her mother behaves and the way that her mother talks to her, to me, seems like she's at the very least emotionally or psychologically abusive to her daughter, and has been for years. I wonder if it's because she was a single mother and Gabby's father is black, and a lot of women of biracial children by black fathers, they resent their children because of the abandonment and the stress and the struggle of being a single parent to a biracial child. So I wonder if she took out her frustrations on her daughter. Did I mention everybody else? Let me see. Ashley, I talked about. Skyler, Gabby, Monique, Justine. I think I talked about everybody. Yeah, so what I was saying last week is that, and I'll just sum it up here. I would not want to date somebody while they're in jail. So if you meet somebody and you know them for a few years and then they end up in prison because of whatever, then I can understand trying to cultivate or maintain a relationship with them. But if you meet somebody in jail, you're not going to see the real person. You're seeing a person who's in a controlled environment, who is being taken care of by the state, by other people. You don't know how they operate in the real world. So for these women and these men to try to find women in jail, these are people who are very controlling and very manipulative, in my opinion. So I always ask the question, like, who's being exploited? The person in the jail or the person outside of prison? In the case of Monique and Derek, she knows that she was not going to be able to get a man like Derek, whatever that means. But she knows that she wasn't going to be able to get a man that she felt was attractive, in the way that she finds Derek attractive on the outside. So she had to find a way to catfish him and to seduce him and lure him with money and company during his time of need. So she's exploiting him because she's using him to avoid dealing with her own issues. And him being in a caged environment was a way for her to maintain control over him. So now that he's out of jail, she wants to keep him in the jail psychologically so that he doesn't have access to his family and friends. I will say this though, his family and friends do not respect Monique. So his family and friends will encourage him to cheat on her or to find somebody better. That's just what it is. And that's also feeding Monique's insecurity. But at the same time, that's on her. She catfished him. She knows that she has to work on herself. She's putting more energy in this relationship than her diet and her health. Monique is putting more energy into Derek than she is into herself, into her own self-improvement. Okay? So you are morbidly obese. You're probably an emotional eater, going through stress and depression. And instead of dealing with that, you want a man to distract you from your own personal problems. The same thing with, what's her name? Ashley and Travis. Okay? She has her own personal issues. Her personal life is on fire. Her finances are a mess. She probably has some substance abuse problem. And she's using this man to avoid dealing with her own personal issues. A lot of people use relationships as a band-aid for their emotional problems. That is why there's so much dysfunction and abuse in our communities and in American relationships in general, because the partner is not supposed to be used as a band-aid to avoid dealing with your own personal issues. That's not supposed to happen. And so, what I noticed is that when these people are getting out of jail and it's like the first couple of hours or days, it's like the honeymoon moment, right? Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. It's the first time in so many years. You're finally free. It's all flowers and sex and motel rooms and dinners and fantasies and shit. But then the real world kicks in. You got to go to work, you got to pay bills, and now things come crashing down. I think the people on the outside and on the inside are avoiding reality. Monique is avoiding reality. Gabby was avoiding reality. Ashley's avoiding reality. Nathan's avoiding reality. Justine's avoiding reality. Aris is avoiding reality. None of these people have a clear grasp of reality. They're all in their heads in the fantasy of being in a relationship with somebody to the point where they're putting their lives in danger, their well-being in danger, right? Or even their children in danger as a potential. Not saying that these guys and these women are going to abuse kids, but you never know. Oh, I forgot to mention the wedding with Cameron. They had a cardboard cutout of his father, which I thought was really interesting, but that's so him. Cameron is silly. He's like a clown. And I think that's a good personality for a child to be around, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like if he was more straight-laced, Aris' daughter would feel more comfortable around him. And as I mentioned earlier, the wedding was very tacky to me. It was tacky. But Cameron is a character. I just think that Aris' personality is very annoying to me for some reason. I feel like she's not really here. Justine's not really here. Ashley's not here. It's like they're all pick-me's. Not all, but most of these women are pick-me's, and they will go crazy if they don't have penis in their life. Justine has no business dating anybody right now, or getting pregnant at the very least. Get married, have fun. But you already have 3 kids. Okay, this man doesn't have a job. He's trying to start his own business, and I appreciate that about him trying to find a way to hustle, get his money up. But to have a baby now, that's so ridiculous. Why would you be a part of that? Not to say that Mike is not responsible, but she's a single mother. Mike doesn't have to take care of his 4 kids with other women. There are other women doing that for him, right? The baby's mothers are taking, the responsibility of raising his kids. So the brunt of that is going to be on the mother. Why would she put herself in that position again, especially if she's the only one working in the house and she's going to have to go on maternity leave? Like, I don't know if she's a nurse or a CNA. I don't know. But if she's a nurse, she makes good money. She can take care of the kids and the family. If she's a CNA, then it's going to be tight. So for him to say, I want you to leave your job, to be with me, a lot of Hispanic men think that way. And I'm happy that Justine was like, no, that makes no sense. Why would I do that? I got 3 kids of my own. I cannot rely on you, depend on you to take care of 8 kids on no money. I need you to be here with me with the kids. Like, he probably said that because he doesn't want to watch the kids. That's all. He doesn't want to be the babysitter. That's it. He does not want to babysit Justine's kids who are rambunctious and who don't know how to behave. I don't know why they're not in school. Maybe, I don't know when this was recorded. It could have been the weekend. But the kids need activity. They need to be doing something outside the house other than beating each other up. So yeah, I think I'll cover all the bases. One more thing I forgot. I would be offended if somebody from jail tried to start a relationship with me. I'd be offended because I'm like, okay, you're only doing this because you have no other option or you have limited options. I don't want to be the person you choose because you have no options or because I'm the last choice. I want to be chosen above all the other options you have, right? Or if there are other options. I don't want to be chosen in an artificial, unnatural environment where you're caged like an animal and now you're desperate for anybody. That would be offensive to me. That's disrespectful to me. Okay? Or yeah, I want to be with you now because I don't have nobody else. I need a way out. I cannot reconcile that in my mind. Get out of jail. Get yourself together. And if you're still serious about me, then you can pursue me. And then maybe I'll consider it based on your track record, based on your criminal record. Maybe. I've never dated a guy who is from jail. I've been with guys who have been to jail one time because of traffic stuff and little minor things, but I've never dated a guy who got locked up and was convicted of a crime. That's not interesting to me. It's not something I'm looking forward to doing. So nothing against men who have that situation going on, but I would rather a man get out of jail and get on his feet before I even entertained dating him, regardless of whether he had a criminal record or not. Don't date me because you're broke and have nothing else to offer. Because once you get your money up, are you going to act differently because you have more options now? So, like, men are only as loyal as their options. I would hate to be the Build-A-Bear woman, to be with you, grinding it out, and then as soon as you get a little bit of paper, you go be with your preference, who doesn't have to do nothing but show up. I'm not doing that. That's kind of what happened with Melody and Martell and Ariana in a sense. Martell and Melody, you know, they built it from the ground. They built their companies and their success from the ground up. And then Martell was spending his money on a female who wasn't even worth his time. And she didn't have to do nothing but show up. I will be damned. I will be damned if I bust my behind to build something with you for you to turn around and give my hard-earned money to a woman who doesn't have to do anything. And she's disrespecting me too. Are you serious? No, that's not going to happen. So yeah, Monique is asking for trouble. She intuitively knows what it is. I think that Derek, if he does propose to her, is to get her to shut up and to string her along until he realizes that he can do better or he doesn't need her anymore. As far as Skyler and Nathan, no, I don't see her working out with him because she knows she can do better and he knows that she can do better. That's why he's so upset about everything that she does. But she was gaslighting him, to be honest. Aris and Cameron, hopefully they work out. Like, if they don't work out, in spite of what I said about Aris and Cameron, I would not want them to break up because of the ramifications of what that would mean. Like, what would he have to do to her to get her to leave him? I don't want her to go through any sort of emotional or psychological damage, which could affect her daughter too. So I hope they work out for the sake of, you know, Aris's peace of mind and the daughter's peace of mind. As far as Gabby and Chris, that was a dumpster fire from the beginning. I'm glad it's over with between them. Hopefully he can rebuild himself up, you know, from out of jail. I guess he's out of jail now. He can get a trade. He can go to school, do something productive with his life besides robbing drug dealers and, you know, committing other crimes. He needs to get himself together. Monique and Derek, it's whatever. She's going to play herself. He's going to use her and then get rid of her. And she's going to have him. She's going to be sharing him with other women. She's going to be sharing him with other Pickmes. She's going to be sharing Derek with other Pickmes. Monique is going to share Derek with other women who are desperate and needy for some penis. So her work is cut out for her. If she thinks he's worth it, then so be it. That's on her, though. I cannot feel sorry for somebody who knows what it is. She knew what it was because she catfished him. So she changed her complexion and she changed, you know, she did not photograph herself from her whole body. She showed only the top of her face. So she catfished him, knowing what time it was, knowing that she doesn't look her best and she doesn't feel her best. So, you know, why would Derek treat her any better than she's treating herself? She knows this, so I can't feel sorry for her. I'm sorry. The CEO, she's pathetic too. Chasing after a man who's like, I don't want to deal with you. You tripping. Talking about it's not over. What you mean it's not over? So, nah, I'm good. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.